Today I'm going to show you how to take these beautifully ripe blueberries and turn them into the best fruit syrup, as well as show you what to do with the fruit once it's done making the syrup. Now to start, I'm going to make a batch of blueberry Cheong, which is made by mixing blueberries, or any fruit for that matter, with equal weight of sugar. Over time, the essence of the blueberry will be extracted and then in turn dissolve the sugar to make a syrup. This process does take a little bit of time, but the end results will be mind-blowing. So into a clean and sanitized mason jar, I'm adding 210 grams of ripe blueberries, adding the berries in 2 portions. After adding the first one, I add about 2/3 of the sugar in between the 2 layers of the berries, and then I mix up the blueberries with the sugar. And then with the remaining 1/3 of the sugar, I'm going to pour that over the top to form a nice layer over the fruit. With everything inside the jar, I'm going to add a fermentation weight on top of all the sugar and fruit, which will keep the fruit below the liquid layer as it starts to form. I let this sit in a cool, dark place to do its thing. 1 week later, this is what it looks like. So in the process, I will use a clean and sanitized spoon to mix everything up to break up any sugar that got stuck to the bottom. Then I'm going to re-add the weight and let this continue to sit in my basement. 3 days later, there's significantly more liquid in the Cheong, but there's also some fermentation activity going on, which can be seen by these tiny bubbles at the surface. If you don't want the fermentation activity to impact the flavor of your Cheong, store this in a fridge at this time, or from the beginning. The temperature of the fridge is too cold for wild yeast to ferment sugar into alcohol and CO2, thus the bubbles. After 2 weeks of room temperature, I took this batch of Cheong and put it in my fridge to finish the process out. After 1 month total, this is the final result. There's still a little bit of sugar at the bottom of the jar, but that's okay with me, as it's going to go into something I'm going to be cooking later on in the video. To finish off this batch of blueberry Cheong, I'm going to pour the syrup over a tea strainer to catch the blueberries. The end result is this deep purple syrup that tastes like blueberries at the bottom you find of a yogurt cup. It's super delicious and I can't wait to figure out what else to do with it. Now for the blueberries, I figured the 2 best options would either be make a batch of pancakes or muffins, and I chose the muffin path. So into a mixing bowl, I'm adding 1.75 cups of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a pinch of salt. Then for the wet ingredients, I'm going to add 1/3 cup of oil, 1/3 cup of oat milk, and then a teaspoon of homemade vanilla extract, followed by 1 egg. After a quick whisk, I added in the leftover blueberries and any of the syrup and / sugar that was left at the bottom of the original jar. Then mix it all together, and I realized that this batter definitely needed to be thinned out a little bit more, so I added a touch more oat milk till I got to the desired texture I wanted. Next, I added the batter into my silicone muffin tin, and in total I got 7 muffins out of this batch. I popped this in a preheated oven set to 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes, and this is how they turned out. I let them cool on a wire rack, and then the resulting muffins, as I cracked them open, is not too sweet, as there's not a whole lot of sugar added to this recipe, but the blueberries have this raisin-like texture, and there's definitely a different flavor due to the fermentation that went on in the making of the Cheong. I'll continue to snack on them over the next week or so, but if you want to see how to make a different batch of blueberry Cheong, click the video on the screen now, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!